All right, we are live. Good evening from here. It's Opinion Sharers, and you are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. Happy New Year to those who did not watch this show last week. So, but those who joined us last week, they will notice that we slightly, uh, you know, went back to some of the things that we used to do, and that is talking about family, talking about social issues, rather than just fixating on politics. So last week we looked at the recent changes in family structure. The discussion was very interesting last week. So we decided to take it a step further to look at issues of mother and daughter-in-law, especially in Nigeria. And when I was doing my research, I found out that it's not even an African or a Nigerian thing, that it's a global issue. It's a
It is.
global phenomenon. So, which makes it even much more important. And that's what we're going to be doing today. All of us, fortunately, here, either married or been married before, or we are adults and mature men and women. So our contribution is going to be interesting, and I'm hoping that some people who will be viewing or watching would also like to comment or join us. So please, if you have a question, feel free to drop it in the comment section, and we will read it and ask our guests to, you know, answer the questions, or we want to look at what other people are saying about it. So if you didn't see the broadcast last week, please, I urge you to go and see it. That way you will know where we started from. So without wasting more time, I would ask that you please share the link, share the video, especially for those of us who are on Facebook. Let's share it and share it and share it so that we can invite other people. Last week uh, we did cut the video into pieces such that you can have some 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and above. So that makes it, I believe that makes it easier for a lot of people to watch. So I would ask my guests to introduce themselves now. And I will start with Mommy Dorothy. Ladies
Okay,
first.
great, great. Thank you, ladies first. Thank you. I appreciate that. Greetings to our wonderful viewers. Without you guys out there, we can't achieve anything here. So thank you for watching us. My name is Dorothy Chinenye Frantero. I am an actress and a relationship coach. God bless you.
All right. Thank you, Ma. Yeti.
Hello, my name is Yetunde Enendu. I'm a baker. I've been married before, so I'm a baker, and I'm a writer. I'm a happy person. I love to laugh. That's about it.
Yeah, I know that. I can attest. Similar.
All good to me.
Good afternoon, our viewers. My name is Timileyin Oguntuyaki. I am a student. Thank you.
Okay, Village Boy.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Bolu Tifeoluwadele, an accountant, an author, published author, and a public analyst, public policy analyst.
Thank you. And Michael.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm Olagun Michael by name. I am a development practitioner. Thank you.
Okay. You're all welcome. I welcome you once again. My own name is Paul. I am a social worker, and I'm the anchor of this show. I'm the one that's going to be asking the questions today, and I hope it's going to be interesting. I hope and seriously hope it's going to be interesting, just like it was last week. And like I said in the intro, that when I was doing my research, I found out that this is actually a global phenomenon. In fact, all the videos that I saw on YouTube when I tried to Google it was from the West. Okay, so and when I tried to Google something about Africa, it is Nigerian movies, Nollywood movie, you know, Mommy Dorothy's people. They are the ones that were showing me about the mother-in-law and stuff like that. So I don't have time to watch movie. I wanted to watch 5-minute, 10-minute videos about to just have a comprehensive idea of what people are saying about it. So now, having established that, I'm going to ask. I'm going to start with Mommy Dorothy by asking, what is the big deal, between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law? Why should that be? Why should it even be an issue in the first place?
Yeah, these days it is now an issue because young ladies go into marriage with a mindset to deal with a mother-in-law they have not known, they have not seen. Even some ladies who are yet to get a spouse, somebody to marry them, they already have a mindset that when I marry, because of the stories I hear about mother-in-laws, when I marry, I'm going to deal with my mother-in-law. So with this kind of mindset, no matter how the mother-in-law tries to be good, it can never be appreciated. And no matter how the bad mother-in-laws also try to change or accommodate, it can never be accepted because of that mindset. And again, it is worse today with what social media is doing, particularly my Nigerian feminists who do not seem to understand what feminism is. Feminism is looking for rights of women. I mean, like a woman who is being abused, or a woman who is being underpaid, or a woman who is not allowed, like those days, to be a doctor. Some good feminist women took the courage to study law, engineering, medicine, all those professions that women were not allowed to do before. That is what feminists achieved. But my own version of Nigerian feminists, maybe not all of them, many of them are on social media, Facebook in particular, urging young ladies to go into marriage with a mindset of war. A marriage is not a war zone. It is a place of love. But because some of them had failed marriages, they now use the standard of what happened in their home, in their own marriage, to judge every man and to prepare young ladies to be battle ready. Do you see them making posts like recently, a lady said she wanted to travel and she bought her ticket already, but her husband disapproved of the trip and she didn't go. She decided to abort the mission. Feminist ladies on social media, Nigerians, went on Facebook to lambast her. She's so stupid. Why did she allow her husband to stop her from traveling? And I said, how can you, a good woman from a good home, embark on a trip without your husband's approval? They use the word permission. I do not need a man's permission. I do not need his permission. So if you are married and you think you don't need your husband's permission, you don't need to get married. Leave alone so you can gallivant. You can go anywhere you want to go. It is not by force. The mindset of marrying into a family to frustrate the man and frustrate his family and his mother. What kind of story is that? There are some bad mother-in-laws, I agree. If you can't have a bad mother-in-law, like those days, a mother will leave east, out from Nigeria, will leave Igbo land and come to Lagos to her son's house. The moment she sits in the parlor and hears her daughter-in-law frying ordinary onion in the kitchen, you know how onion smells. Once she put the onion and the onion makes chai, the woman will carry her hand on her head. Hey, my son money don't finish. So this wife is going to use all the money to fry and finish my son's money. Even back then, when this mother do such a thing, those wives those days, because they were well brought up, would never hate that mother-in-law for that. Rather, she would say, mama, your son's money no go finish. I am here to support your son. Don't worry. We'll go build house for you now. Don't worry, we'll take care of you. She will reassure the woman. But today's woman, if a mother-in-law tries that, she'll be out of that house. I will never come to that house again. So entering a marriage with a mindset is the problem. And then social media teachings, wrong teachings, is another problem. Those are the main two things. Of course, we have some bad mother-in-laws too. But if you can't access a mother-in-law, all you need to do is take counsel. How do I go about it? You know, there are things, if a mother-in-law is talking about, so let your husband, talk to your husband. Don't confront her. Don't face her. What I don't understand is that these ladies, their own mother, talk to them rudely sometimes. their own mother get on their nerves, but they will never put their mother away. But once a mother-in-law tries it, there's a war. Your mother-in-law has a part in your life. Your husband came through a mother. You came through a mother. So two mothers, they have a part in your life to play. If now that you accuse them as being witches, if they have closed that compound and that you married to, you won't have a husband. So they have a part in your life.
Let me come back to you, man. Thank you, ma. I have a question here, and it's you also talk about it in your intro here, and the issue is there seems to be a prepared biased mind, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe let me know. I'm trying not to say it about the daughter-in-law or the mother-in-law. You know, maybe on the side of both the mother and the daughter-in-law, as a premeditated biased mind, pre-marriage. You know, let me ask the village boy: do you agree that there is this premeditated biased mind that both women comes into the relationship with? And if you can espouse on why, if you agree.
Well, thank you very much. There are two sides to a coin, which is a common saying of me, if you recognize, if you recall. Yes, they are from the things that are happening now. I think there is some level of premeditation we can see happening. Prior to this time, there have also been some kind of what you may call oppressive and probably ignorant mother-in-laws that cause that raise unnecessary alarm. Let me share a story, but the story is in Ekiti. Kind of, I will speak Ekiti dialect somewhere along the line. Please pardon me. So there was this woman who came to do Amugo. Amugo is now accepted. I mean, it's adopted by all Nigerians, though it is an Igbo word. So we have it has become a national word now. So kind of. So she came to do Amugo. So it was in the 80s. So the woman went to market. The woman went to market. They bought, this Okwiko, Pamo and everything. So, and the mother-in-law was looking at it, and when they suffer each of those type of meat, and the woman started sobbing when the son came, and the son was asking, "Mommy, what happened?" He said, that there are too many, that the meat allow the meat in the soup were too many that she cannot. There was nowhere to get the soup, to pick the soup. And the son asked, "What? How do you mean?" He said, "Upon all the big pot of soup that your wife cooked, she gave me only 3 pieces of meat." The son laughed, said, "No. That, see, this is not like the village. In the village when we cook, when we go to the farm, we catch a meat, grass water and everything. We cook it, and it is shared to everybody that day. It is consumed that day." So the son had to explain, and no, that this pot of soup that you see my wife cooking, at least will last for 3 or 4 days. So that is why she try as much as possible to make sure she serve you one of those varieties in the soup. So thank God the man was able to bridge that gap. So for both the wife to defend the wife and to educate the mother, especially when there is a gap in social gap. With due respect to our mothers in the villages in those days, many of them were never that they didn't go to school, but they spent all their fortunes to send us to school. So there are things that we have seen as a kind of, because of the peculiarity of living in an urban area. So there are kind of behavior that are different from the behaviors in the interland. So it is imperative for the man to come in to stand in the gap between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law to make sure that there is a breach of that social disconnect. So that's the example that I use. But if you look at what has been happening in the last 20 years or thereabout, I will blame it on two things. The Nollywood, sorry, Madam Morority, has not have matter. They have, I mean, when they are, you go see Ezono, you look at Mama G, the example of bad mother-in-law, and that's what made them popular. People love to watch them doing that cataclysmic mother-in-law. So that kind of people make these young people, they say, no, I'd rather marry a man whose mother is dead. So, and the other aspect also, when you talk of in terms of even this Omugo we are seeing, I have known, and I've also said that the wife's mother is more useful when a woman put to bed. So, and that also make a woman to prefer her own mother to come and take care of her during that period. If it is a mother-in-law, it's like, it's supposed to be an asset, but it could also become a liability, especially if the mother-in-law is a bit of age, that she needs care. So like the new mother, especially with the first delivery, is struggling to get back to normal, is struggling to take care of the child, and is also struggling to take care of the mother-in-law sometimes, because we also have the preconceived idea that, okay, I am in my son's house, so I'm not supposed to be doing anything, I'm supposed to be served. But we have seen some well-informed, generous, kind mother-in-law who will come and will play the role of the wife's mother, who will take the wife as his daughter. That word daughter-in-law means like this is a daughter you are adopting. You are taking this woman as your own daughter. There are mother-in-laws who will do the same thing the wife's mother would do for the wife. So there are those instances. So I think the kind of impression we got on Nollywood makes some women to vow. Some people have had people pray that I don't want to marry a man whose mother is still alive. So that preconception has become prevalent in recent times. It wasn't that bad before. There are those who prepare for their mother-in-laws. Okay, if you do me shege, I will do you shege. So there are also that aspect. Then the feminism is also not helping matter. The feminism in Nigeria, as Madam Dorothy said, they are not realistic most of the time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. I want to ask Yetunde, because she seemed like a younger woman whom I believe is, has experience with, more new generation women in Nigeria. So I want you to share with us personal, experiences that you have seen, maybe in young women. Why is it that, is it true? Because some of us are assuming that women come with a premeditated, bias against the mother-in-law. Mother-in-law generally, maybe it is people like Mama G who are just acting film, or Midoroti who are just acting film, and then do you think it is why? Because somehow I think it's we cannot deny that it is popular. A lot of people, even though it might not be right to generalize it, but it's fairly popular. What's your opinion? Have you seen young women, being scared of mother-in-laws?
I have. And that Mama G's role didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of something that was true. So let's not behave as if they just suddenly did one movie and then everybody just carried it.
So we can't blame them.
I think we can't blame them at all. I think when a person has their child, I think you feel like nobody is good enough for your son. I bet if the person is good enough, it has to be somebody very, very unusual. So by the time you have your son marries somebody, when you guys get you get to know them. From my experience, I think what your mother would tell you that you would take very simply or very easily, because you people didn't grow up together, the way your mother-in-law would tell you, sometimes you take it very personally. It sounds like very harsh criticism. And so sometimes the way the woman might take it, it might turn to something else. You know, it might actually turn into a war. But from what people have said, I have a very lovely mother-in-law. We didn't always agree. I'm very strong-willed, so there were times that we stood chest to chest, of course, because she's very strong-willed as well. But at the end of the day, and I have to be honest, when we were standing chest to chest, there was very little her son could do. To be honest with you, he just had to go to work or pretend to go to work or pretend to go and buy something so that so that there was we could sort ourselves out, because he himself, he was in the middle, he didn't know what to do. He'll be telling mommy, yesterday, mommy, in fact, I need to go and buy fuel. I'm coming. And he'll just go. And then by the time he comes back, the both of us are good. And then over time we settle it. So I think, of course, the preconception. Sir?
Continue, please.
Okay.
Continue.
I think the preconception is a thing, because it's not just about the movies. Even I've heard a lot of stories where mother-in-laws were really, really terrible. They actually came into the house, and because they wanted to be the one to call the shots, because after all, he's my son. You just came yesterday. So they want to call the shots in the house. And the woman is like, this is my house, you know. And so there comes to be that loggerheads and stuff. I've heard very horrible stories about very, very horrible mothers-in-law. I've heard wonderful stories about wonderful mothers-in-law. And about that thing that Village Boy said about the Omugwo, I think sometimes when you are at your most vulnerable, you don't really want somebody that you feel is critical of you and of the things you are doing in your vicinity. And so you are more liable to rely on your mom, who you trust more and who you know understands you more. Imagine when you just have a baby and you're trying to do one or two things, and your mother-in-law will come and say, are you still sleeping? What is this nonsense? You had a baby, you did not have accident. Oh, yeah, stand up, you know, and stuff like that. So so they are thinking all these kind of things. So they are wondering. So I think that's where it all comes from. It's actually the truth. It's not just a myth. But there are good people and there are some kind of people, but I think it's just a personality thing all around.
Thank you, Yeti. Thank you very much. I love the example context. I mean, context in it. Now, Timlay and Michael, you guys are young married men. Welcome to the fold. Anyway, so now the question that I want to ask is, imagine when yesterday was talking about being the man, the guy being in the middle of these two women. And to be honest with you, this might also, what I'm about to say might be my personal bias, but it's something that I've seen and read and heard about. Okay, when you have a boss that is a woman, you may not have a problem. Okay, but let's now have two women in the same office. It is going to be like there's always need for competition, unnecessary competition, in my opinion. So in a case where you have the mother-in-law and the wife or the daughter-in-law conversing for the attention of that single guy. Now you and I'm talking about the three of us, me, Michael, and Timileyin, we are the guy in between them. You understand? How does it feel? Now we are abandoning, we are putting aside for a moment the position of the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law. I mean, the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law. Now let's look at the guy, the man, the husband, the son. Because you are the son, you've known your mother all your years, all your life. Now you have known this woman whom you have to accommodate, you have to bring in. You understand? And there's little or nothing. Sometimes I can imagine the position of the guy who is feeling helpless. I can't go confront my mother unnecessarily. My wife also, I can't, gist with my wife. Many times, young men like me can control our mothers. You can say, mommy, no. You can use I to communicate to your mom. You understand? And in most cases, the mom, because he's the boy, he will sit down. But in most cases, you can't do like that with your wife. Now let me give Timley and Michael to communicate to give comment to this crisis that I've created. Timley, you go first.
Thank you. So
Well, he's actually the senior when it comes to marriage issues, so I don't expect you to call me.
now that's interesting. just before I go ahead to that question, to answer that question directly, I would like to add a couple of things to what is contributing to the recent issues that we are seeing between mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws. First, that I have noted here, and I think briefly the Village Boy and Madam Dorothy and Sister today have actually touched it a little bit. It is acceptability and accommodation issue, because when you want to marry someone as a man or as a woman, you first accept them into being friends with you. Then you build relationship over time. But in the case of mother-in-law and daughter-in-laws, I think because, as Village Boy mentioned, there is social gap, there could be economic gap, there could be age gap, knowledge gap, there could be a lot of things, and they just do not accept each other. And that's just it, because you are seeing this from another perspective and the other person is seeing it from a totally different perspective. And I feel like the premeditated bias that women have, young ladies have against mother-in-laws could actually, we could actually change it by understanding first that this caring, lovely gentleman that you have did not fall from the sky. It came from somewhere and is a product of a mother. So you have to understand that accepting the guy is as good as accepting the mother. So that's one thing that women should understand, that you have to accept the mother. So far you build, because you are not from the same home. The guy, there will be issues when you first start dating or courting, there will be issues. So that you will still go through that rough patch with your mother-in-law. So understanding that the process might take a while is important. So secondly is the issue of pressure. People just want to get married these days. And that will take us to your question. Pressure. People just want to get married because my friends are married. I just have to be married. And so they could go to any length pretending to be what they are not in the faces of their in-laws. You know, calling. Normally, there is a guy you would not ever call brother Timileyin. Just because you want to marry his brother, you say brother Timileyin, you do all this, you know, and you show up as someone that is homely. You show up as someone that is cool, calm, and collected. You show up as someone that is gentle, that could be ordered around. You know, you will tell them, I can do this for you, I can do this for you. Even if you don't say it, you bring forth that kind of character. And so they take you for who you really are not. So sometimes you have actually shot yourself in the leg by showing people that you can do anything for them. They can order you to stop something and you will. But if you go into a relationship with your in-laws with originality, being original, so whether they accept you or not, that will be a decision you will make whether you want to move forward in that relationship. So first thing is to go in original. Stop pretending, young ladies. Stop pretending. That pretense will not take you far in your marriage and your relationship with your in-laws. So taking us to your question, men also just marry anything. You should not just go ahead and marry anybody. Someone that does not respect someone that is selling pepper on the street will not respect your mom when when everything comes down to, you know, choosing or taking a stand. So someone that does not respect a common person on the street will most probably disrespect someone you love, and it's going to hurt you. So you want to look really well before you marry. You want to look really well before you marry. You want to understand that this person is not just kind because you are in love with them or they are in love with you. They are kind to everybody. That is their own nature. So, and again, okay.
No, I was going to make fun of you, Brad Timileyin, and say, if somebody brings their real face, that's all I was going to say. Okay. But I brought my real face. So when you bring your real face, your in-laws will actually ask you, don't you know how to pretend? Over Yoruba now, you don't know how to pretend.
Well, Well, that's another point of view, anyways. So now to what the man should have done. There is something. I think there is something that I noticed is men's
The truth is
ineptitude.
that I'm sorry, Timley. The truth is that a lot of women, a lot of young women, pretend to be nice
A
to
lot.
their in-laws, but
A
then
lot.
they go treat the fuck up of the guy behind the closed door because the pressure they can't undo it in the public in front of the in-laws. They pretend the girl is sweet, but then they go fire the guy behind closed door. Anyway, continue, please.
Yeah, so it is men's ineptitude to quickly introducing their potential spouses to their mother-in-laws. So you want to get married to someone, you've been seeing someone for the past 2, 3, 4 years, but the time you deem it fit to introduce them to your mother is about 3 months to getting married. So and you expect them to just fall in love with each other and to respect each other and to meanwhile it took you time to build relationship with that person. So quickly introducing them to your mother is important to allow them navigate, to process. It will make their transition it wouldn't be as if there wouldn't be issues. There will be, even for married lovers, there are issues. So you don't expect.
Women can pretend.
So
even if they know themselves 1 year.
Another trajectory into this.
No.
We won't finish that
I'll
one.
explain something.
We'll
I'll
spend 5
explain
hours on that. Oh.
If you don't mind,
Okay.
just 1 minute. It's not so much that they are pretending. Oh. See, well, when you say that they are pretending, but so a friend of mine actually said that what they are doing is putting their best foot forward.
Oh.
I don't understand the concept of that.
So
because when you are genuinely kind,
okay,
I come with a point of view that if you are genuinely kind and you have genuinely good intentions and good ideas, you can bring it forward. And even if they don't agree with it, it is okay. They can work with you on that. But a lot of in-laws don't work that way. Your mother-in-law will say, oh yeah, come and kneel down for me every morning, afternoon, and night. Even what you don't do for your mother at home. And that is not who you are. So you say, mommy, okay. So you kneel down for her in the morning. She say, when you came to serve me food, you didn't kneel down. So you do all of that one. But by the time you enter your house and then they want to come and start lording it over you, it will be as if you were pretending. So I don't know.
What do you call that?
You now said that you are not in charge.
So what do you call it?
Are you not in charge? You are not in charge in their house, but you can't be in charge in your own house.
Yes, so what do you call that? When you pretend, I mean, okay, I don't want to call it pretend now.
No, I call it what I say. You know what I'm trying to say, sir. I agree that it is pretending,
fruit, right?
But I agree that it is pretending. But I think
strategic maneuvering.
I think even the in-laws by themselves. I think it's the in-laws themselves.
All this
I think even the in-laws themselves.
Okay. Anyway, let's give Michael opportunity.
Okay, sorry.
Michael,
I think all the points are already exhausted, but I have 3 things that I've jotted here as the conversation was going on. You see, when we look at this current generation we are in, and I love to make a reference to my generation, the one a little above mine and the one after me. I think there's a serious disconnect between what our mothers values, what they cherish, and what our own current generation, particularly the ladies, what they really cherish. How do I mean? I grew up in a family where my mother sees it as a sense of duty to cater for our own in-laws, father-in-law and mother-in-law. And it went so smoothly. In fact, up to this current time that I speak with you, my mother still used to make a reference to, that's my grandfather, who happens to be our own father-in-law now. And this actually happened as a result of the bond they actually that existed between two of them. And I asked some questions, I interrogated some things. And this is a old man, very old, and there are things he really values, very principled at that. But there are certain cultural elements, and I love to talk about this because there are good things about our culture as a Yoruba person that I cherish so much. You cannot treat your mother as a trash and extend same hand to your mother-in-law and expect that your mother-in-law, who actually is a culturally inclined person that values her husband, that values her in-law, and expect same mother-in-law to expect trash from you. That will naturally not happen. So there's a serious gap. And I think until we go back to the drawing board and ask ourselves some questions, what are those values inherent in our culture as a Yoruba person, as an Igbo person, as a Hausa person that really sustain family life, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law's relationship in the past, because that's a center focus now. Until we ask some of these questions and establish those points, we may not make headway, because the element of civilization that we have allowed to permeate into our brain, that we have seen social disrespect as a norm, I think until we establish all of those points, there will it will be a continual or continuous thing for mother-in-law and daughter-in-law to continually have problem. And in addition to that, I would also say that there is lack of character investment. Character investment in the sense that who we are today, that we are on this platform, is as a result of the bond that exists between us, and the bond is getting stronger as a result of the respect I have for Village Boy, as a result of respect I have for mommy, as a result of respect that I have for Mr. Paul and my brother. Even if we want to assume that, for example, I'm of same age with Mr. Timmy, I think the sense of responsibility should make it demand that if I am respected, I should also extend that hand of respect to my brother. So with the issue of character, lack of character investment, our young ladies don't really want to invest into their character anymore. Many of them are interested in investing in the physical, the physical appearance, which really does not matter to me as a person. It matters considering some factors, but what really makes a man, a mother-in-law, a father-in-law sees the beauty in the life of their daughter-in-law is because of the element of character. You know what your father-in-law wants, you know what he does not want, you know what he values, you don't know what is valued. Because if you are their own biological daughter, there are things they naturally will not take from you. And see, there's a saying in Yoruba language, permit me that, Ajunilo Ojunidan. It will never happen one day that they will come to tell you that you should beg, that your father-in-law or your own father or your own mother should come and beg you. And in addition to that, they will say in Yoruba language, they koni buru buru ki baba ko so pe o dowo momi to wa lorun. No, you are still the one that will right the wrong. The meekness should be exhibited. Character, good character, good conduct should be exhibited. There was let me cite an example. There was a time I was doing something, and Village Boy noted that, and he called me. He said, "See, if you refuse to change, I will call you out." Village Boy is not my biological father, but because of what I value, there are people also that I will extend that same hand to, that I will say, "Don't ever dare this," and they will listen and obey. So if I see Village Boy, if I regard him as an authority over my life, as someone that can call me to order at any time, of course, we should also admit and see our in-laws at that. However, there are few exceptions to some of these things. I won't go into that. And lastly, see, you cannot fake being responsible. If you are irresponsible, you are irresponsible. If you are responsible, you are responsible. But being irresponsible and you attempt to fake it so that people will know that you are responsible, it obviously cannot work. It is unfakeable. Permit my language. So I will stop there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Michael. Mommy Dorothy, I want to ask, what is it like? I deduced this question from I think some of the things that Michael said. That what are those things that helped sustain the relationship between the mother and the daughter-in-law in those days during your young self and get into marriage compared to what we have today?
Thank you. You see, this discussion is very interesting because mother-in-law and daughter-in-law issues is becoming an epidemic. It's almost an epidemic. So you see, those days, families were involved in whom a man married or whom a lady married. Those days in Owerri, Imo State, I'm from Abia. We don't do it, but in Owerri, Imo State, there's a culture they had, which I know the new generation have thrown to the trash. Before you marry any girl, once introduction has been made and knocking on the door has been made, that lady will come and live with your mother for at least a month, between 1 month to 3 months. Except that happens, you are never going to go ahead to marry her. During that period, like Timley said, is for them to bond. Is for the mother-in-law. We call D in Igbo, we call husband D-I. And D means endurance, means patience, means tolerance in Igbo land. So the mother-in-law will teach. They say, after your mother have trained you, your mother-in-law also need to retrain you a little to tell you about the kind of food, her culture, the kind of things that works in her family. She needs to, bring you into what is expected of a wife. So those days, when they bond like that, the mother-in-law is able to make some correction that you didn't get from your family. And the daughter-in-laws those days will take it in peace because they came with a mind state. I'm trying to wait for the noise. I think a village boy. I'm trying to wait for the cracking. Even though the girls those days, they will come into marriage with a mindset to make it work. And they are ready to take all the training, to take all corrections in peace and in happiness. But today's generation, they prepare for marriage celebration. They prepare for party. They put in all their effort in Ashebi, just celebration for the world to see that their marriage was the best. Their wedding dress. So they put in all the attention to the celebration of the marriage, but not the marriage in itself. Today's girls do not care what happens inside their house. They are more interested in pleasing the outside world. Now, those days, a guy cannot just pick a lady. Like today, what they do, you just come to visit your son and you see a lady in the house already. You're already married. Oh, it's my friend. I was going to bring her. They already start these things, even some get pregnant, without involvement, without family involvement. These girls too, they just move into a boy's house that their parents do not know about the boy, do not know where they come from. There's no investigation. We call it asking questions. Like my daughter, my son comes to me, Mommy, I want to marry this person. Your family will go and make inquiry about the background of that family. If the father of that boy was beating his mother, the family will say, see what we found out, the father was beating the mother. And the parents will be able to say, my daughter, you're not going to go to that family. And the girl will listen. But today, there's no family involvement. They do everything by themselves. And then, like Timley said, the men don't even look. In Igbo land, we say a woman has 3 bags when she comes to marriage. The day she comes in, she brings in 1 bag and keeps the 2 outside. She brings in the bag one by one. Those bags are character. The 3rd bag she will bring in is when she gives birth to a male child. She'll be like, now I've arrived. I'm in charge. I've given him a male child. Then her head gets big. Nobody else matters. Like Toshi talked about. There's something in beauty. A beautiful woman without character is ugly. Beautiful character attracts. Ugly character repels. How can you come to marry a man? Those days, marriage is love me, love my dog. You cannot love a man and not love his family, not love his mother. You don't love that man. But the men too, they are looking for, instead of looking for a girl that is well brought up, that has some of the girls they marry are even disrespectful to their own parents. Yet, because she has big breasts and big nails. You go and carry, put in the house. A girl that does not respect her own parents. How do you expect her to respect your own parents? You are dating a girl. Every time she comes to tell you about her family, she rubbishes her family before you. You go ahead and marry her. When you marry her, she will start to rubbish your own family too. A girl that has no value for her family or respect for her parents, you go and carry and put in the house. A boy that has no family respect for his own parents, you go and marry such a man. A man, those days, when they want to marry a man, they will ask of the relationship of that man with his mother. A man will first have to marry his mother and marry his sisters by the way he treats them before he qualifies to marry somebody's daughter. If a man does not treat his mother and siblings well, no family will allow him marry their daughter. So because of that, everybody is put on check. You know that as you behave, people are watching you. They will come and ask questions. Those days, when people want to go to Yoruba land to marry from Igbo, they will go to a beer parlor in the Yoruba area. Just sit in beer parlor, buy a palmy and be drinking. And then, please, I'm looking for so family. There's a family. Ah, that family. Hey. You know, you will get all the information from there. When you go home, you will tell your son or your daughter, that family you want to marry to see what I found out about them. But today, families don't care. They live anyhow because nobody will come and investigate them. Nobody will come and ask them before they give them wife or daughter. Today, once a man has money, every family wants to give their daughter to the man that has money. And those they don't care about his character, about how he will treat them later. They just want money. So people marry for the wrong reasons, unlike it was those days. You can't marry a girl without your family approval. But today, you don't need a family approval. Even I had a girl that rented parents. She was bad to her family. Her family put her away as an outcast. So when she wanted to marry, she went to rent one father and mother and presented to her in-laws as her parents. It was when Katakata was that they discovered that the people she presented are not her parents. Same thing men are doing today. If they know their parents say, mommy said, don't marry this girl, you can't marry this girl, they will side like her parents because they say they had an objection. Instead of you to observe, investigate that objection they have, check it out, find out if they are truly being sentimental or biased. Then come back to them and say, mommy, I think your view about this family is wrong. Correct them, agree with them, but no, they also side like their parents, go and rent parents and go to marry and when trouble happens, nobody you can call. Money wives today do not know who holds the mumu button of their husband. Somebody who holds the mumu button of your husband is the person you can call. Like Michael, listen to Village Boy. In the family you are marrying to, who holds the mumu button of your husband? Who holds the mumu button of your wife? Whom you can always call. But they don't care. They are alone by themselves. They are okay by themselves.
Mommy, let me stop you for now.
Stop me, darling. Thank you.
Okay, so I wanted to ask Timileyin, Yeti, especially because our network is having some, it's misbehaving somehow, even though it's a Buhari's network.
MTN has been abysmal. Sorry.
Yeah. So the question I wanted to ask you is, how do you think mother-in-laws should prepare for the time when do you think mother-in-laws should prepare for the time, mentally prepare that, okay, this boy that I love so much, because how much the mothers, African parents, African parents, they put a lot of investment in their male children. And so there is a lot of attraction, like people, especially if it's the oldest, okay, if it's the oldest and it's a boy, there is tendency that there's going to be some kind of a closeness between that son and the mother. So how should the mother prepare? You as a mother now, as a young parent, how do you prepare your mind, that this boy is going to one day bring one girl, and whether I like it or not, I have to accept that girl. How do you prepare your mind for such adventure?
It's with the realization that this, first of all, you have to know that this is your son, but he has his own life ahead. Everybody belongs to themselves. You are the shepherd. They came here, they're part of your family, and that's fantastic. You have the responsibility to raise them. You have the responsibility to care for them. But at the same time, you don't feel like you own them, and so they are your hope, your future, and all those kind of things. You don't feel like they're your hope, your future, and all those kind of things. Sorry, there's a bit of noise around. So you don't feel like they're your hope, your future, and all of that. You have to be able to face you have to be able to face the fact and say, eventually, the way I had my own home, they are going to have their own homes too. You know, so by the time you think of that, you actually begin to prepare yourself and prepare your son also. So your hands are already very loose. You don't come into the house and think, oh, I'm going to dictate what happens in this home. Remember what it was like in your own home too. In your own home, by the time it was that you got married, while you cared for your in-laws and stuff like that, as what I have said, I think because tradition was a certain way, culture was a certain way. When your mother-in-law came into the house, she more or less owned the house also. You know, she could do what she liked. She could dictate to you what was there. But I don't know, maybe nowadays because of how things work, and maybe just because, you know, but everybody wants to feel like it is their home anyway. So I think that everybody should just, she herself, she should just know, she should remember how it felt when she had her first home, and going into that home, she should realize that this is actually this woman's home. This is my son whom I love, but even the Bible says, leave your family, leave your parents and cleave. Go and drop it in the kitchen, please. And cleave. Oh, God bless you, sir. And live and cleave. So I think once they understand, I think that thing comes from the inside, because there's a special bond between mothers and sons. And it is very, whether, I don't know, I don't think when the young men are talking about it, I don't think they understand it actually. That by the time, it's not just the wife being unnecessarily antsy. I think actually the mother also feels, this is my son, I've known him from when I was small. I'm the one that he normally listens to. Then you have to listen to me too. And I think it's understandable. It's just, everybody just has to bring some understanding to the table. Thank you. Sorry for the noise.
Okay, sorry, let me take your time, please. Well, Yoruba said,
yeah.
The village boy will help me interpret this. Every mother desires a granddaughter, desires a son to marry. Don't you see how they disturb their sons? Oh boy, bring a wife for me now. What are you waiting for? I want my granddaughter, I want my grandchildren. So every mother wants to have her granddaughter and her grandchildren. But what I want mothers to do, like the question our boss asked, is this. Don't say, don't marry this girl because she's Calabar, because she's Yoruba. Don't reject her because of her tribe. Every mother-in-law out there should be more interested in how that girl is brought up, her character. Like Michael said, focus on her character. Even if Calabar are witches, Yoruba are witches, it can be all Calabar, can be all Yoruba. Focus on her character. See the good things, the good things about that girl. And then, because you want your son to marry, because you want if your son is at peace at home, you are also at peace, dear mother-in-law. If that girl, nobody is complete, that girl your son wants to marry may have some shortcomings. Take her like your daughter and teach her and say this and this. Help her to start a new home that she's coming to. Welcome her, she's like your daughter. Like when my son was getting married, I never met that girl before. They were both in school, but along the line, something happened. I had to travel to see her parents. They said, okay, it's my son, it's my son that did this. This is my family, this is who we are. I'm going to marry your daughter. I've never set my eyes on her. And when she gave birth to cesarean operation. I went to her, I traveled to go and meet her to get to know her, which is not many mother-in-law would do that. My son was supposed to bring her to show to me. But I traveled because she got pregnant, she just had a baby. I can't expect her to travel from Oka, the school where she was, to me. So I went to her to get to know her. And as I was going, I went to Igbo in Lagos. I bought crayfish, soup, all the kind of food that we eat. I'm from Omaya, we eat achara. I bought achara and introduced her to all of them. Now, Yeti was saying, your mother-in-law will say you are still sleeping. Are we that wicked? A mother-in-law went through bath. She knows what childbirth is. She cannot be waking a woman that, are you still sleeping? You get back, get up. No. I don't think we are that terrible the way people are thinking mother-in-law. When I went to this girl's house, I went to meet her in the hostel. Some of her hostel girls were coming to people at the door just to get to know this kind of mother-in-law because it was raining. I entered this area with my shorts with them. We were struggling to fetch water. My daughter carry bucket. I said, no, drop it. She just gave birth. He just gave birth to a cesarean operation. She was a student. She was laying on the bed with her child. I lay on the floor because she needs to relax her, but she just gave birth. So not every mothers are this wicked like everybody is saying. There are some good mother-in-law.
Yeah, you're right.
So my colleague Yemisi, she's a Yoruba lady. She prefers her mother-in-law to come each time she give birth than her own mother because they blend. Because before she come back, one day we close for work and I said, okay, we want to buy things to cook. But at that time she got home, mother-in-law has already, improvised something and she couldn't cook that day. So there are wonderful mother-in-laws out there. I just beg today's ladies to open your mind. Do not have a mindset. Do not judge your mother-in-law by what another mother-in-law did to her own daughter. Don't use that mindset to go into a new home and begin antagonize the woman that has not done anything to you. Even if she has done something to you, think of her like your mother. Think of her like your mother and just try and work it out. And then men, a man too should stand the ground. You can't be looking away and going to buy sweat.
Let me stop you here again, okay?
Stop me, Daddy. Thank you.
All right. I wish we have a lot of time to discuss this. All right. I know that it's an interesting topic that we all have something to say about.
Very
something.
much so.
Our experiences are different and rich. Now, I want Village Boy to educate us or enlighten us on the role of the man. Who is the middleman here? That people are seeking. There are these two special and fantastic people who needs your attention. And whatever they are doing, one way or another, is for the guy's good. But in most cases, I find out that the guy also, perhaps not that prepared or confused or not sure who to support, So I am asking, maybe we move towards the solution now. How do you, me as a young man, Michael, Timilei, and other young guys who are probably going to watch this, how do you prepare for not taking side? Because many times they want you to take side. You understand? And is it even possible not to take side? How do you do it?
Well, thank you very much. Let me make a comment about the marital internship that Madam Dorothy says. So if the woman goes to the mother-in-law to go and do internship, which we call IT in Nigeria, so what happened to the man? Does he do internship with? Does he do internship?
Does he do internship?
Okay, be that as it may, this is not a general phenomenon. It's peculiar to particular people. But it's a beautiful idea. But with modern day reality, that may actually be impracticable. For instance, if you are going to marry in Lagos or in the urban cities, going to the village to go and spend 1 month might not work out. Actually, having said that, when we talk about marriage, we say there is an aspect that are you mentally and psychologically prepared to get married? So a man can be mommy's boy. I know men that they remain mommy's boy all their life. And a man can also be WW. I don't know whether you know that. What is WW? Do you want me to decode that? Okay, thank you. It's not me that said that to say today that says
say that again.
So now the thing is, if you are
woman rapper, I see.
Yes, WW. If a man is a WW, it's not matured. If a man remains a mommy's boy, it's not matured, and such are not ready for marriage. And there's a delicate balancing here. You must there's a delicate balancing. As a man, you owe your mom a respect due to her. She gave birth to you. She did everything. She brought you up. She labored for you. Yes. But when you go to the scripture that yesterday was quoting the other time, a time comes that you leave your mother and your father. It's not physically living. It's a kind of mental living, mental maturity that you have come to take responsibility for your own actions. You become more accountable for your own actions. So those are the times that, okay, you are ready for marriage. So, and when you are at that point, when such situation occur, I think the circumstances will determine what you should do. One, you don't respect your mother in the presence of your wife, no matter. You manage that. On the other hand, also, you don't rubbish your wife in the presence of your mother to please your mother. Because, come to think of it, there will be fight at the other room. So if you can't neglect the other room in this matter too, because it's very important. Okay, having said that, the thing is like when there is tension, we have different mechanism of coping. What you today said about the woman going to buy fuel and everything, apparently is somebody that maybe is not too, it doesn't have a liver for trouble. It's not a troublemaker. It's not only Jagman kind of. So that may be the coping mechanism. Okay, let these women sort themselves out. I want to be neutral, but there are times that being neutral can be dangerous. There are times you are not expected to be neutral, because when you are neutral once, that occurrence may happen again. But when you have the wisdom, the grace to address the issue, respectfully telling your mom, like the story I share with you, the man has to explain to the mother, look, this is the situation here. When we cook, we don't finish everything one day. What we cook, because of we go to work, maybe this thing will last for a week or for a month. I mean, for 3 days or for a week, because it's not easy here in the city to be cooking every day. In the village, they do that. They just go to the backyard, collect leaves, and soup is ready. They cook almost every day. So, but even in modern day, you have to cook and put in the freezer for 2 weeks. So, and warm every day. Those are things that are not happening in the village. So, the man must be an educator between the two. He must be a bridge builder between the two. He must be a reconciler between the two women. He must be sometimes the one that will take the insult, apologize to both parties. Women don't apologize with words. I know Madam Dorothy will take me on that. Women apologize with action. So, but men apologizes. Beg your mommy. In this case, the woman with your mother will see you as a weakling if you beg your wife in her presence. And be practical now. When there's a hug, just tell your wife, oh, I'm sorry there, but mommy, please, I beg you. Beg your woman, say sorry to your wife when the two are present. This is the wise way to handle it. Well, when you go back to the other room, you can do whatever you want to do with your wife when your mother is not there. Because you must not pretend, you must not give your mother the impression that you cannot handle the affairs in your home. Because that is what makes you a man, ability to handle the affairs. And a good husband material must be a good crisis manager. You must learn to manage crisis. You can't be a good husband if you don't manage crisis. So these are the things that you should do. Prepare yourself mentally. Read. When I was going to marry, I read tons of books. Until the time I said, look, I am tired of reading. I don't want to read. I want to do marriage now. So there was a time I remember one evening in the church, they brought another book for me. I said, I don't read, I don't do. Book don't do. Now I want to do the thing, gaga. This thing I'm reading, when will I practice it? So read is not me. Yes, people try to look for money. You need money to get married, but you need that emotional stability, emotional intelligence. You need to build your own character. See, don't think that because they say it's marriage, it is only the responsibility of the woman to prepare for marriage. Women, unfortunately, are ahead of us in marriage. They know, they have a mental picture of marriage before men. See, a man doesn't think about marriage or they think it's, it has something grand. Yeah, I remember in those days when we were writing and if they mention marriage, I said, look, don't tell me about marriage for now. Let's forget. We are still marrying ICANN now. When we finish ICANN, we'll talk about marriage. So there are times we start late. Men start late to prepare for marriage. But even at that, know that you are going to have a situation in which you have to manage crisis. So, and you have to know how to balance. It's a delicate balancing, because you will argue in the sitting room. Your wife will still call you that you are supporting your mother against her. Your mother will still say, hey, so because you are married now, you no longer want to respect me. So even when you are going to correct your mother, sometimes the mother could be overbearing, some mother-in-laws could be overbearing. But even that, you don't chastise your mother in the presence of your wife. No, don't do that. Call your mother aside. Go into her room. If she's living in the guest or whatever she's living, sit down with her. You can prostrate me, it's your mother. Prostrate it to your mother, is nothing wrong. Prostrate to your mother. Look, see, this thing is Omolomo new. This is a child from another family. So it will not be right for the two of us to now be fighting her. What if it's our own sister? What is your own, if it's your own daughter, uncle? So will you be happy that the husband and the mother-in-law are fighting your daughter? Will you be happy? So talk to your mother, because some mother, they will go to their room and be crying. So you have to go, take an excuse from your wife. Look, I need to go and talk to mom. So of course, when you come back, the wife will say, what did you tell her? So it is up to you to know how to present what you did. You don't have to tell her everything you told her. So, but you have to, if you don't talk, you are going to be in trouble. If you don't say, I didn't tell her, so you mean you were just there 45 minutes looking at yourself. You didn't say anything. Eh? So you have to know what you can say. Okay, actually that, most of the time the mommy was doing the talking, but I just say, look, it's, we are one family. There is no need for division. We should love each other. Love is cover everything. You can discuss everything you discuss with your mother, with your wife. That is no wisdom.
Is there room for small lies?
Eh?
Yes.
I wanted to say that there's room for putting your best foot forward there too.
Let me clarify.
You put your best foot forward there too, Abi.
No. Let me clarify what I'm saying. You not disclosing is different from telling lies. If I don't want to talk about a thing, it's not that I'm lying about it. So if I discuss 5 things with my mother and I disclose 2, I'm not lying. It's just like I did not give you full information.
Exactly.
I give you the information that I think you will need. Because when it comes to this thing, there is the war with women is endless. And as a man, you don't win that war. Argument with women is endless. You cannot win. No man can win. No man ever has ever won. So we have to know our limitation. So you have to know that, look, when you do over syllabus, you will create more trouble.
Yes.
Because everything that you reported, they will now be analyzed. They will be synthesized. And another battle will start on each of those points.
Even for
literature review.
They will do literature review. They will do interpretation. Then they will do recommendation. So that is how you can bridge that gap. When it is hot, beg your mother, say sorry, calm down your wife. Calm down.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Village Boy. Thank you. Thank you.
Dimlai, I want to
That's where you have a wife that wants to be calmed down.
Abio.
That's what I want to do. What?
Wants to be calmed down. Some women, as you are talking, they are shouting at you. You're saying, calm down. They'll say, my friend, leave me. I must talk.
And so what happened? What happened to the last option?
You do the calm down. You do inverse relationship in mathematics. That's inverse relationship.
What is the last option?
Divorce. If the center cannot hold, if she will not listen, and there will not be peace. Peace cannot be compromised. If it continues on and on and on, there seems no way out, let it go, or else you die.
Exactly. This actually is my view. Because you see, what the village boy said is the most beautiful thing, but it usually works where there are actually people that believe in conflict resolution, that actually want everything to be solved. There are some people that are so angry that while you are trying to come, they don't want a solution.
Can two agree? Is it can two agree or can two work together unless they be agreed?
Yes, unless
they don't want a conflict resolution. They don't want everything okay. They just want to shout at your mom. They want to shout at you. They want to shout at anybody that comes to come and say, calm down. They'll say, my friend, shut up. And they will shout. And their body will be peppering them. They will be shouting until they are spent and they are relaxed. They are
now Miss Mario.
No, and
exactly.
Two people should not be mad at the same time.
Allow me to
should not be mad at the same time. That is a principle.
Allow me to. I want to make a statement, please. I'm sorry, sir. I want to make a statement, and the statement is that, in my recent studies, I found out that women are more powerful than men realizes. Okay, women have great power on the male folk. Okay, so when you are a young guy, it is your mom that is in charge. When you look at your family, you see, no matter what the father is doing, it is the mother that is silently working. Is the one that is in control, literally in control.
Village boy looking for a book.
You got me there. Yeah, that's Shiwesu. That's Shiwesu. That's this Shiwesu. The female anatomy something.
So and when you get married also, softly, somehow, softly the woman is the one, you are the one dancing, everybody's singing, but there is the Romi that is beating the drum.
So true.
So I guess where the problem is for the guy is when these two powerful women, important, lovely people are at the loggerhead and you are in the middle.
Take a stand.
Now, I'm creating this scenario for Timileyin and Michael. What do you do as a guy?
Thank you very much.
Wait, I'll come back to you, Yeti.
Okay. Should I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I would just like to corroborate Village Boy's perspective and his submission. Very beautiful, because the man has to be the conciliator in this case, in the sense that you were the one that knows your wife, your mother. Your wife has not lived with your mother for more than, I don't know, maybe just 3 days when she comes visiting, or at most 3 weeks or 2 months. But you have been with your mother. You understand the way she thinks, the way she behaves, and what pacifies her. You know it. You have lived with her maybe for the first 20 years of your life. You know your mother, and this is why we must always set precedents for our children, because they will always be looking. When your mom, see, there is no way the tongue and the teeth, they fight. So the way you settle things at home, your children are looking at it, and your life becomes very easy as a man if you have a great father. Your life becomes very easy because you have a template that you can modify, you can review, and bring out something great by just being more dynamic. So you know your mother, you have lived with your mother for years, you understand our worldview, so to say. Even if there is social gap, economic gap, you were once at our own side of the world with her experiencing, and that's why the Bible says that we have a high priest that cannot be touched with our environment, that understands our infirmity. So you cannot come here and say you are sick and you don't think that Jesus can actually heal you. So now, if you were in that shoes with her then, even if your wife is the daughter of Buhari or Otedola, you are the only person that can bridge that gap. Now, your wife, you met her, you fall in love with her, you build a relationship, you understand her own worldview. 2, you know her, you know what pacifies her. If not any, whatever that comes in between you guys, you know how you settle it yourself. So now you are the only person that understands the two women from both sides. But it will never happen that they will understand each other if they're always at loggerheads. So what you do is first understanding what is causing the problem. See, people that come off as bad, they can come off as bad to you based on maybe 3 reasons. It could just be because they don't know that this thing they are doing is hurting you. It is their own cultural belief. In the for instance, Sister Yeti actually presented an example the other time that would your mother-in-law say kneel down for me every day? That could be our own cultural belief, and she is holding on to it adamantly. So you understand it as a man. The woman does not seem to understand it because she's confused. What kind of cultural belief is this? But you are there as a man, right? So, and you understand your mother as well. So that is one thing. Understand, it could just be they don't know. The woman might just not know. I mean, your mother might just not know that this thing doesn't apply anymore. You know, I can kneel down and not actually respect this person. Just kneel down for kneeling down's sake. And respect does not always have to do with kneeling down or prostrating. It depends on what you do, the kind of love you show, the respect you show, how you respond, how you talk to them. So this is what actually means. This is what actually shows if you truly respect someone, not kneeling down. Kneeling down is just a sign on the surface. So is it because the woman does not know, maybe your wife does not know is a cultural belief, or your mother does not know that this thing does not apply in this age? Or it could just be not being unreasonable. They might not just be reasonable, you know. For instance, Madam Dorothy mentioned that her daughter-in-law just got delivered of a baby and she did everything possible to be kind to her. She's just being reasonable, thinking that, well, I can manage the floor. Why this woman needs to rest on the bed? So she's just being reasonable, but not everybody will be reasonable. And that's why our experiences are very subjective. What we will say today is dependent on whatever we have learned, we have read, or experienced. So we might have differing opinions. So that person might just be unreasonable. And the last one, which is the most challenging, is just being wicked. Some people are just wicked. They are just wicked. And it doesn't mean the mother-in-law is wicked or the daughter. It could be anybody. It could be the daughter-in-law that is wicked to the mother-in-law. It could be the mother-in-law that is wicked. So whether this thing is being caused by either of one of these 3 things that I just mentioned, it is your own work as the man to understand the crux of the matter, to understand the basis, the foundation. Because if you don't understand it, you will keep being conciliator that does not resolve any conflict. You will be doing all your best and it wouldn't work. Because if you don't know, Madam Yeti mentioned something that the woman just wants to shout at you. There could be something behind that shouting. Is it that she's just wicked or unreasonable, or she doesn't know? Is that something she needs to know? So there are a lot of things to unpack from these issues between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. So it is first understanding that your work as a man is not to, you know, overly or obviously support one or pick one over the other. And secondly, you must understand the basis of the matter. So mother-in-law and daughter-in-laws are keeping secrets that the man does not know. And if he's not careful, he's going to die in the middle of the two of them. They know things about each other. You don't know it as a man. You don't know it. And they have things against each other. And if you don't understand the basis of that issue, you would never move forward with resolving the conflict. So I believe if there is anything we are going to do to resolve this kind of issues, is understanding the basis. Understanding the basis, and know that as a man, you have to be in the middle and you have to take a stand, not supporting either of them, but you will really have a tough job to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a beautiful submission. But I want to also say this here, that there are people who don't know. When you tell them, they are you know, often generous. They are willing to learn. They are willing to accept. Like Yeti was saying earlier, there are people who don't know and they don't care. They don't want to know. Do you understand? They are fixated on their. For instance, we talked in our intro that there are people who come with a biased mind to that relationship. All right, and they are not willing to change. What they know is what they know. What they believe is what they believe, regardless of what you say.
Last
Anyway,
option.
yeah. Michael, it's your turn. Now, I want after Michael, I want Mama Yeti and the Mom Dorothy to talk about this new wave of I don't know. It's not feminism, because I understand what feminism is. You know, that you see among African women. You know, where you know, like was it Mama Dorothy that said, or was it Yeti that talked about people talking on social media that how can you travel and you expect to take permission from your husband? You know, I am neither here nor there, you know, but I want to hear your own opinion regarding that. Michael, please.
Okay, thank you so much. I would love to come from I know a lot have been said, but there's this particular point I would love to make, and I'll reference psychology. There's something we call the climax of age in psychology, and some are, the most common one is always around age 40, and some are always privileged to have their own around age 45. So anyone that gets to age 40, or rather any character that anyone exhibits up to the age of 40 or some 45, there is tendency that they may never change again till they die, because from age 1 to 40, the opportunity is always there for them to amend anything they need to amend. And some are always fortunate to have their own extended to age 45. How do I mean? There are some of our mothers, because of their social and economic background, they really don't have this level of civility, exposure, not intelligence now, because I love to always differentiate some of these things. Some of our ladies, our sisters, they have the civility, they are exposed, they know what is happening in the outside world, but in terms of intelligence, that is actually it's lacking, and very seriously. So there's this particular experience I would love to share that I witnessed at the time. When I finished secondary school, I wanted to join the army. So I was with a certain family to prepare for my NDA exam. And there's this woman, when she gave birth, it's always like the mother of that lady, she's always welcome. And the mother-in-law is always very kind woman, but always not welcome. And I'm saying the kindness because of my own perception. There was this particular incident that happened. The woman, she assisted the lady in preparing some stuffs at evening time like this, and it was getting dark, and the old woman was in the dark trying to sort those stuffs, I think vegetable. And when this lady stepped in, the only thing that came out from her mouth was, Mama, kí ló tiẹ̀ ṣe yín gan-an, báwo lẹ ṣe máa ń gbàgbé nǹkan báyìí? Mo ti sọ fún yín bí tán ti ń tanná kitchen. You know, these modern houses, you can on the lights, maybe the one of the corridor from the sitting room, everything was just somehow. So the old woman, perhaps she has forgotten. And I became terrified that how will a reasonable woman, for that matter, divulge such a thing from her mind, from her mouth, that Mama share kì í rántí nǹkan ní báwo lẹ ṣe máa gbàgbé ibi tán ti ń tanná. Then I'm saying this because some of the traits or characters that our mother-in-laws they exhibit, they are things they naturally would not do, assuming they are of age 40 downward. But now that they have extended, some of them in their 70s, some of them in their late 60s and in their early 60s, the brain is already getting retarded. And there are certain traits they will exhibit that even some, some will go so terrible that some will even regard their mother-in-law as a winch, whereas their own biological mother is exhibiting the same thing. This is not witchcraft coming to play. It is the normal psychology that we have all gone to school to learn that is playing out gradually, and which all of us, we are still going to journey that path. So I just have this point to make, and it boils down to education. Our young ladies should go beyond superficial expression, physical outlook. They should invest more in knowledge seeking. as you are studying about how to raise your children, it is equally important at old age, because whether we like it or not, since they don't have any children anywhere, it is our own responsibility, because they nurtured us, automatically they will become our own babies too. And we must understand how to take care of all of these people before they close their eyes in death. And in doing so, it requires a lot of knowledge, investment. And lastly, let me add to it that I'm using myself as example. There's a way I deal with my mother right from when I have been in school. My mom is such a caring person, and I used to tell my friends that I wish to marry a wife that is like or better than my mother, because my mother is a perfect model of who a mother should be. My dad is a very principled person. For anyone that knows him, he doesn't take nonsense. Then I kept asking myself, my mother, they live together, and even with the principled nature of my father, she still manage him, and everything is okay. What I'm trying to say in essence is this, that as we continue to we continue to climb the ladder of age, we should understand that everybody, there is a peculiar way to deal with everyone. When my wife tells me something, she knows my no, my yes is of, my okay is of two types, and she's the one that let me know that, and she learned that from my mom. Because when I won't do something, there is a type of okay that I will say that you yourself you suspect that this is okay, is a fake okay. And my mom sat her down to tell her that, you see, this is my boy. I'm the last born of my mother. My mother, I mean, demystified me to her that, see, this boy can go to any length. If he sets his mind to achieve anything, just leave him alone. He's always very crazy about that. But as time goes by, I never knew that my mother has done a whole lot to my wife to tell her. Even my firstborn, our firstborn, his wife, told my wife a whole lot of things that, you see, this boy, he does this, he does that. But when I got married, I never knew that my wife was living, I mean, she's living with me with the knowledge she has acquired from my mother, that this boy this is how you undo him, this is how you undo him. He's okay, he's of two type, and all of this. I'm saying this because it is not just enough for young lady to say, I want to marry a guy. As you are trying to know about his own mother, his own father, try to also, is a two-way thing. Ask questions about the son that you want to marry, the guy that you want to marry, so that you not just marry someone who will end up at the end of the day send you to your early grave, now to his sister. Then conclusively, I think that will be my last comment. There was a particular experience I had, and I shared it with some people at the time. See, when you see in Yoruba that meaning the eyes that we see till old age will not malfunction when you are young. There are certain things, and this is with due respect to elders in the house now. So, and there are things that we see in young ladies as young guys, and even as young ladies in young guys, that we know that if we attempt to invest our life, or to say we want to journey life with this person, that we are dead even while alive. So these things are point clear. There's no point attaching emotion to it. We can learn all of them. If it do not work, let it not work. Don't waste your time. Move ahead and let's be at your own pace. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Okapo, I was one that talked about the permission and trip thing, and I want to make it clear. In marriage, a woman or a man cannot pick your bag or buy your ticket without agreeing with your spouse. You cannot. A lot of people are married, they still want to live like they are single. A man or a woman, you owe your husband or your wife. That is it's not a privilege, the right. It is their right to know your plan. You want to travel next week. You want to before you buy your ticket, you discuss with your spouse. But the person who made that post said she already bought her ticket before her husband got to know, and her husband said, no, you can't travel. And she jettisons the trip. My problem with social media feminist Nigerian ones are like they're saying, to hell, I don't need his permission to travel. If you don't need your spouse permission to travel, please remain alone. You don't need to marry, it's not by force. You need, if you're a man or a woman, you need your spouse permission. It's not even permission. It can inform him, inform her, carry him along. Okay, what if you travel and you have an accident? Then you remember to call him, right? Or call her? Of course not. So you must work together. Some people are living with their enemies as wife, as husband. You people have different, everybody is operating differently. I don't know why marriage is so messed up today. Marriage is a beautiful thing. I keep saying so. But the problem is, dear young lady, when you are a hot lady, fire, but during courtship, you are cold water, ice. It doesn't work like that. Be real, like Timileyin said. Let the man or let the woman know who you are. Be real. You cannot, during courtship, you tolerate everything. You come to the guy's house, you see another lady's bra, and you ask, who owns this? And he says, it's not what you think. And you won't make trouble. You keep quiet. You continue the relationship. When you now marry you see the lipstick in the car. You will remove the roof of the car. You become lion. These are things you tolerated while you were cutting with him. And then you go to the family of the man. You buy them gifts. You go weekend with them. You laugh. You cook. You do everything. You pretend to be tolerant, to be patient, to be accommodating. Only for the man to marry you finish, you become a artisan dog that would drive his father and family away from him. Why does it happen like that? Be real, so that from the beginning, the man knows what you can take. The woman knows what you can take, so that they will treat you accordingly. But by the time you pretend and they marry you, after marriage, the man or woman is seeing that this my spouse is a stranger. Is this person I married? Because you are bringing out your real character. Then a man has to stand the ground from day one. Let the woman know. Look, dear men, if you relinquish authority to a woman at the beginning, you can never get it back. That's how we are. A woman can be a little more than you will ever know. If you are marrying a woman because you love her, you allow her to have all her ways at the beginning, allow her to spray her tentacle everywhere, you can never get it back. She's in control and she will remain in control. Of course, women have some control, but a woman must respect and acknowledge that this man this is the man, this is my husband, this is my head. A man is not without the other. Now, many men will say, okay, let me talk to my wife, I'll get back to you. It is okay. But when a man says, when a woman says, let me talk to my husband, I'll get back to you. My Nigerian feminists who trash her on Facebook, why would you have to talk to your husband before you get back to me? You don't have your own mind? Can't you take a decision on your own? That's not how marriage works. You must go into marriage with one mind to do things together and be together. And dear man, take authority from day one. Your wife should not disrespect your mother for any reason. And like Village Boy said, call your mother. If anything happens, talk to her one-on-one in private and tell her, Mommy, this is between you and I. That thing you said, that thing you did, must never be said again in my house. You're my mother, I respect you, I love you. You should be careful. My peace is your peace. That's my wife. I love her. Like Village Boy said, don't ever trash a woman in presence of your wife, or in presence of your wife or your mother in her presence. Let everybody calm down, but talk to them one-on-one. But stand your ground, make the rules. Tell your mother, Mommy, next time you do this, and make sure you go back to you leave my house. After talking to them harshly, buy them a gift. Show them kindness, but talk to them harshly, privately. Mommy, you do this again, you're leaving my house. Tell your wife, you disrespect my mother again, this marriage is over. Stand your ground. What is other room business? Other room business, full for street now. You can get other room business anywhere. Don't take because of other room and take shit. What is other room? Stand your ground, make the rules. When I was like about 20 years ago, my colleague got married to her husband is Felix. We live in the same neighborhood. They were cutting. Felix was all cool and calm. Then one morning, a week after the wedding, she came to my house crying. I said, what is this? He said, Felix called her this morning and woke her up and said, in this marriage, we wedded last weekend, it was successful. Now, I have 3 things to tell you in this marriage. in this marriage, you must not deny me food. Both, that's number one. Number two, you must not deny me sex. Number three, you must not disrespect my mother. Any day these three things happen, this marriage is over. So now I asked her, why are you crying? You should have also told him things he shouldn't do to you that you will not like. You are getting to know each other. She was like, why didn't he tell me before I married him? I said, because this is real business. You were there last weekend. So you also go back, tell him, okay, I heard what you said. I'll try not to disrespect your mother, not to deny you food and sex. But you must also know, if I say no, I don't want to do sex, you must also understand with me. If I say I'm tired, I don't want to cook, you can also understand with me. So she had that talk and go back to me and say, yes, the man actually agreed to these two. But the man said he would never agree to disrespect for his mother. I said, okay, go back to him and tell him that he should also be able to call his mother and talk to his mother. Make sure that everyone's working in agreement. Talk to your mother, talk to your wife. And I've said before, dear mothers, please, your daughter-in-law is your daughter. If she offends you, if you can't talk to her peacefully, tell her husband to tell her. But please, there's a lot to gain from living in peace and harmony, because two of you are fighting, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Very soon you will kill that man you are fighting over. You will kill him. You think you're trying to help him. He's not happy. And dear wife, when your own mother comes to your house for Mugo, after 3 or 6 months, let her go away now, because she can go away and come again. If your mother is a living, your husband is not too comfortable. When he talks to you, you are fighting with your husband, your mother is putting her mouth. So you are putting your husband, now, your mother is in your house. Your mother is your chatmate, is your gist mate. You no longer gist with your husband. You gist with your mother all the time because your mother is there. Your husband have to knock on your door to get your attention because you are talking with your mother. When your mother comes for Mugo, those days we go for Mugo, we go back to our home. Don't let your mother abandon your father and come and live with you. And then make your husband a married bachelor. He's alone. He laughs alone, talks alone. You're always with your mother. Let them visit and go. You're not supposed to come and live with you. Thank you.
All right, Emma. Thank you. Yeti.
Yes, sir.
I mean, what do you think is the limit between? You said what?
You are going to say, sir. I'm listening to your question.
Okay, so I was still talking about that feminist thing. You know, where do you think it is necessary for the wife to take permission from the husband, and is it necessary for the man to also take permission from the wife? You know.
You know, it's funny. I find I didn't enter that particular conversation because as much as I'm very modern in some kind of things, I'm actually still very old-fashioned. So I felt, and this is what I said. I said, I feel when you enter a relationship or you enter a marriage, I should say a marriage, you are married to the man. I don't think anybody should go embark on any journey or take any major step without telling the other. I feel there are lots of things because we are fighting for our rights so much that we forget the place of basic the rules of human interaction. I think it's very simple. You're married to a man. I don't think anything of it, and I tend to think I can be very strong-willed and think I want to be a person that understands my own autonomy. But I think it's a thing that you go and tell your husband, say, I want to travel next Thursday. And the guy says, no, but I would rather you didn't go. You know how that place is. And if he said that, you'd be like, okay. Because what I asked somebody, the person said, what they are doing is that they're not saying they should ask permission. They should just tell the person you are going. I said, if you tell the person and then the person says, don't go, what is going to happen? You will still go. I wish you wouldn't go. You will still go. Or what is going on? I think, and apart from that, what I was going to say is that I think there's a lack of kindness and love. If you love your husband, you would not want him to actually be in the middle of any fight, that you'll be dragging him with your mom, because you know how difficult it is for him. You will know it is a very difficult position to be in. So if you genuinely loved him, you would do anything to make sure that did not arise. And even when it arose, you would do your best to back down. Same thing goes for the mom. The mom herself knows that this is how, because of course, as Mommy Dorothy said, a woman goes and she's hunting, give me my grandchildren, give me my grandchildren. But at the same time, we know that when he marries, the woman he marries is not always what she would have wanted him to marry. It's not her choice. But he married what he wanted to. So sometimes by the time she comes, there's a lot of clashing ideas. But because she wants her son to be happy, she wants his home to have peace. When she's coming in, there's a lot of ego that goes in there. There's a lot of competition. Love has to transcend the ego. I'm sorry, this is my own idealistic way of looking at it, maybe. But it has to transcend the ego. And this is me that at the same time said, because I'm very opinionated and I did not know how to put my best foot forward. A lot of the time, my mother-in-law and I, we had issues. But at the end of the day, the reason my husband was able to leave was because he found out that when he left, she and I settled it that much better. When he left, I was able to say, but mommy, you see this thing that you said, it's very upsetting. And she was able to say, but even if I said it, you didn't agree with it. Should you have said? And by the time he came back, everything might not be jolly, we might not be hugging, but everything is okay. We are calm. By the next day, we would have settled it. By the time we wake up in the morning, we'll hug and we'll continue what we're doing. So I think sometimes there's a basic lack of kindness. There's always this need to prove yourself. There's this need to come and show that it is my house. You want to show that you are the one that controls the man. He is my own, and I am the one that. Let everybody just come with a mind that he is our own, and we want him to be okay. We want everything good. So let's come that way. This is just what I want to say. I think that whole permission thing, I think, is all a matter of dragging. You want to drag that you are your own. And as Mommy Dorothy said, if you want to do that, don't disturb other people's children. Stay single and stay in your house. You'll be okay now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, so we are closing now. We've taken, we did not plan to extend it this much at all. But I know that this is an interesting topic, and you know, we all love to talk. All of us, in fact. I think maybe I'm the one that doesn't talk as much, or maybe Timlane. Even Timlane sometimes when she step on the P like this. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, guys, for your time. Now, in closing, I want us to look at way forward. You know, essentially, I want us to close on the impact or the influence of Nollywood. You know, and like I have said to Mommy Dorothy earlier, even though she belongs to that industry, but we know that what we see and listen to influence us a lot. All right, and like I said, when I Googled it, I often use YouTube for as one of my major search engines these days. And when I put Nigeria there, the major thing that I saw were Nigerian movies, you know, that was talking about this kind of clashes in Africa, in African relationships. So I want to look at how do we minimize the implication of the so-called power of Nollywood and what we see and hear in terms of calming down the preconceived bias. Let me start with Village Boy. Please, let's spend not more than one minute each and every one of us, so that we can close in the next 3 or 4 or 5 minutes.
Thank you very much for Village. Sorry for Nollywood. Some of the things that have been done cannot be undone. We can only look forward at when you want to do a new movie about marriage. I think that should be a new concept whereby you teach something worthwhile. We have good example. Why not use the example of Joke Silva and Lou Jacobs? These are classical marriage, and they are Nollywood actors and actresses. So why not use marriage that went through, and survived? So why not bring out a kind of marriage whereby I know a lady in Lagos there. Her mother-in-law, you would think is her mother. You would not know. In fact, it took me a long time. In fact, it was when my wife told me that, no, that woman is not her mother, it's her mother-in-law. I said, what? You won't know. They are going out, they sew uniform, they do actually beat everything. And the woman, of course, it's two way. It's reciprocal. They say respect is reciprocal. So we need to work. Women is more of women have to don't see your mother-in-law as evil. Even if your mother-in-law there's a social gap can be breached by education, by concern. Yes, love, kindness also make us to accept people who are not exactly like us by showing more understanding, by understanding where they are coming from, and by seeing their humanity first before anything else. But correct comment sometimes impulsively, people just react to things. But then we should, even beyond the impulsiveness, we should also have a way of calming down and reconciling. So we can understanding is very critical to both parties. Understand one another.
Thank you, sir. Mom Dorothy, 1 minute, please. How do we kind of eliminate the need to blame or copy Nollywood. What we see from Nollywood?
Yeah, those movies happened in the past. If you check the most recent movies, like the last 5-10 years, such movies are no longer produced newly. You see them on YouTube because they've always been there. They are all old movies. Check the Nollywood movies now. There's a lot of improvement, and we're also using this avenue to appeal to Nollywood producers, directors, and all that to help us. Because Nollywood drama is message. Help us channel positive, like a village boy said. There are positive marriages. There are couples I know. In the course of my counseling, I've met couples who are truly, truly enjoying marriage. To the extent that when one travels for 2 days, one is homesick. You won't believe it. There are those couples. There are also good mother-in-laws. They are there. Let's exhibit them. Let's stop making people lose interest in marriage, particularly the new generation, because we keep painting all the bad pictures of marriage. Let's Nollywood begin to paint good pictures of marriages so that people can see, oh my God, I like that marriage. I pray for mine to be like that. Instead of saying, my God, I don't want Patience Ozoko as a mother-in-law. So please, let Nollywood help us. We are making an appeal now. But I'll give it to Nollywood. We have tried. We are changing. We are doing better than before, believe me. And again, I just want to say the ladies out there, please use empathy. Employ empathy to your mother-in-law. Just see her as your mother. Of course, she can err. Nobody is just understand. And we have young mother-in-laws today. We no longer have those 70, 80 mother-in-laws. We have young mothers, some 50 are already mother-in-laws. I have 3 granddaughters already. So we have young mother-in-laws who are so like you. So just embrace us. Remove the mindset of all mother-in-laws are bad. Not all of them are bad. Believe me. Open your mind and try it. You will testify. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, man. Timlane.
Thank you. It's been a beautiful conversation and interesting one at that. So, I mean, the village boy and Madam Dorothy have both spoken to the Nollywood, but I would like to talk to social media. Like, see all those celebrities that you see coming out to discuss the Nigerian version of feminism and then divorce and all that. They are looking out for themselves. They are looking out for engagement. For engagement, and you can be lost in their own way of making money and livelihood.
The clicks.
Yeah, you can be lost in that, and your own life could be destroyed in that process. So you should look out for yourself too. They are looking out for themselves. Look out for yourself. You cannot bank on their experiences. And of course, the people that are actually enjoying good mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship, they should try to put it forward. Many people that are getting divorced today that have maybe wicked or reasonable mother-in-laws or daughter-in-laws, they are quick to come to the social media to exhibit these experiences. So you should also come out and tell people that in your own relationship with your daughter-in-law, your own relationship with your mother-in-law, you are enjoying it and it is merry all day. It's not as if you don't have different opinions, but you always come to a point where everybody comes and agrees and understands that we don't want to destroy the life of this man in our lives. So don't bank on social media experience or social media rants or trends or whatever. Look out for yourself. You deserve a better life. Let no one deceive you that if you wage war against your mother-in-law that you will have dominion. No, you only live life of bitterness when you do that. And the same thing goes to mother-in-laws as well. So you should look out for your own peace of mind. Marriage is supposed to be enjoyed. It's supposed to be enjoyed, and you can only enjoy it when every party in that marriage, when they are happy, when everybody is happy and everybody is respected, everybody feels needed. So you can't treat people like trash and you expect them to carry you like you are a big deal. So that is how it works. Everybody understands that there is always concession. Sometimes you have to concede. Sometimes you just have to be reasonable. Just assume that she doesn't know. Sometimes it works, and most times it leads to a peaceful experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Timileyin. Michael.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just in addition to what we have on the table, let me add three things. One, I think we need to be very deliberate in doing some of these things, like be intentional that you want to be at peace with yourself. And in being at peace with oneself requires a whole lot of sacrifices, demands, and all of those. So we must be deliberate also in teaching people that it is possible to live a peaceful life, peaceful married life, so to say. Though I'm just barely 2 months old in marriage, but I don't have a dick. Then number two, there's need for self-evaluation. We cannot always be right. We cannot always be correct. Let us admit that. When we self-evaluate, we need to say, oh, I got it wrong here. Next time I won't do that again. I got it wrong here. Next time I won't do it again. I got it a little right here. Next time I will improve. That is important. And lastly, let me talk about this issue of feminism. I have entirely different perception to it. It is just some people have one person, a feminist that I respect so much, and I would love to mention his name, is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. She's a feminist, and she has not lose her cultural inclination to what the Western world, despite being influential, the affluence and all of those. She values Igbo culture to the letter. She preaches it, she demonstrates it, and this is someone that is having a peaceful married home. So if Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie could exhibit that, who are you on that you are just you are there causing, doing all manner of crazy things on social media in the name of feminism? There are better examples to actually look at, and feminism is simply about defending the right of people, not about saying you want to rub shoulder to shoulder. And lastly, I will speak as a Christian. See, until we understand what the Bible tells us, what the Bible preaches about man loving his wife as Christ loved the church, and woman being submissive to her own husband as well, the world will continue to be at loggerhead. Marriage will never be at peace if that is absent. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. We've all done a fantastic job today. Thank you very much. Thank you to Mommy Dorothy. Thank you, Timileyin. Thank you, Village Boy, Michael, and Yeti in absentia. I think this is one of the longest we will have in this year. I hope we don't have any long session like this, but it's been engaging, even though we've been here for long, but it's been very, very interesting. I look forward to each and every one. I know that we all have a lot of things that we want to say, but please pardon us. So I will try to cut the video down to sizes like we did last time. Maybe it may not be that small, but then we will try, because this is longer. So others it will be easy to share, and then for other people to watch, especially those in Nigeria. I believe that there's a lot of messages here that can impact people's life if they would invest in it. If you cannot buy a book, to read, about marriage, about this kind of things that would help you better. Videos like this, maybe you need 20 megabytes or 10 or 50 megabytes or 100 megabytes. It's not a waste. Anyway, thank you very much. We will be back next week. Still continuing the session on the recent changes in family structure. So we'll be talking about most likely marriage as being a palliative. It's going to be difficult. I hope it's going to be interesting again. I talked about it last week, that this is something that I would want us to talk about. But since Village Boy said we should talk about this particular aspect of the relationship, and I think it has been interesting. So next week, we are going to be looking at marriage as a palliative. And this is nothing against women. It's nothing against men. It's just, a topic that I feel we should discuss, and I think it's interesting. So it's Opinion Sharers. Thank you very much. We'll be back again next week, Saturday, 5 p.m. Nigerian time, 8 p.m. Dubai time, and I think New York time is 11 a.m. All right. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Village Boy. We will see you again next week.